Hey, welcome to Habits and Humor podcast. My name is Susie B, and I am the host of this show. I'm a personal trainer, mom of 4 kids, and I love what I do. I do what I do because it makes me happy and because it helps me to be in charge of my own life. What I do for work is I'm a personal trainer, and I have an online business where I help people anywhere in the world to improve their health. I run this several different ways, and the reason that I started this business is because I wanted a couple of different things. I wanted a good way to spend my time when my kids all went to school. My youngest is in kindergarten now, and I knew this day was coming, and I knew that when he went to school, I didn't want to have that really rough empty nester type transition where I suddenly lose my purpose in life and I suddenly feel like I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my time. I didn't want to have that experience. And so I started my business a couple years before he went to kindergarten so that then transition would be a little bit easier for me. So if you are interested in starting a business, or perhaps you've already started and you're just looking for maybe a little bit of business help, this episode is going to be about my journey to starting a business and the 3 most important things that have helped me to build this business. My 3 top habits, for my 3 top business habits, if you will. Today's funny story is about resilience of sorts. And it's about doing the thing that you know needs to get done in a way that is you, and how to run your business as yourself, because that's the only way you're going to succeed. If you try to take somebody else's business plan and follow it step by step, you might get a little bit of traction, but until you make that actually your plan and you personalize it to you, you're going to struggle. I do know that much. I've learned that the hard way. I've tried lots of different plans. I've tried lots of different things that other people have done. And I realized, okay, those aren't me. And that's not how I want to run my business. And until you've tried those things, though, sometimes it's hard to tell what's for you and what's not. So I encourage you to, before you start your business, or maybe you've already started, ask yourself these questions. Why? Why do I want to do this? What are your non-negotiables? So for me, my why is that I want to be able to spend my time with my family. My top non-negotiable is my time. If my kids have an activity at school, I want to be able to go, no matter what time of day, no matter what day of the week is. And if I have to ask for time off to do that, it's not going to work. If the other thing is holidays. My kids, we go to a tiny school and they have a lot of random holidays or random days off at this school. So we go longer school days and then we get about every 3rd Friday off. If I have to ask for every 3rd Friday off from work, I'm going to get fired. Like, that's just not doable. So again, the time factor for me was my number 1 non-negotiable. Ask yourself, what is your number 1 non-negotiable? That's why I knew I couldn't work for somebody else. I knew that wasn't for me because I wanted to be in charge of my time. That is my top priority. That's my top answer. I needed to be in charge of my time because I need my family to be priority number 1. So that's why I went into business for myself. If that priority is not a big deal breaker for you, there are lots of options for you to work for other people. Absolutely. There's tons of people hiring, and there's lots of different industries and different businesses, different skill sets, hundreds and thousands of college degrees that can help you take a direction to help you figure out what is for you and which direction you should go. If, however, that time and that control of your own schedule is a top priority for you, then listen up. Stay with me, because I'm going to explain how I did it and how it might be useful for you. Give you those actionable steps that you can take away that can help you. The second question I asked myself was, is very important to me that I not be strapped to a location. I know that down the road, right now, I'm a stay-at-home mom most of the time, and so I can work from home. But if I needed to be, with my family, I want to be able to take my family and go to like a summer vacation home or something like that in the future. And I also enjoy working with people who lived in cities that I have lived in prior. And so I knew at this point, I couldn't reach all the people that I wanted to reach. And I wanted to set myself up again for that family flexibility and freedom to be able to not be tied down to a location. So I started doing a hybrid business, which some of my work is done in person and some of my work is done online. And I love this combination because I still get to help people to see and feel and be in the room with that energy and that impact. But I also get to help people no matter where they are in the world. So if we can't be physically in the same room, we can be virtually in the same room, which I'm so grateful for the advances of technology in the past, even just couple of years, that have made this possible to be able to do this. So I created an app online and made it so that I could not only meet with my clients virtually, but I could keep them consistent between sessions. So again, I went into this thinking with my mind open, what are some of the options here? How can I look at different things and try different things until I find what works? And one of those things for me that works is an app and online coaching. This really works well for me and for my business plan. For you, you need to figure out, what are your non-negotiables? Is it time? Is it location? Is it amount of time? Is it a dollar amount? Maybe you need to work enough hours that you know for sure that you're going to bring in that much income. I have a friend who is a single mom, and I know that she has to bring in a certain dollar amount every single month just to cover the bills. I am blessed that my husband also has a job and then I get to be married, and that number is not as important to me. And so that wasn't one of my non-negotiables, but it absolutely is for her. So again, you have to look at it in a personalized way. What are your top non-negotiables? What are the things that matter most to you? And then build out your plan from there. If the time and the schedule aren't super important to you, but you know you need that steady income, perhaps working for somebody else for a while, or just working for somebody else forever, is a workable plan for you. Maybe that is the way to go because it is secure and it's safe and you feel like someone is covering that for you, covering those non-negotiables for you. Obviously, I mean, we all know that nothing is safe, and there's always the potential that, businesses open, businesses close, people have to be laid off, things like that. There's always a little bit of risk there, but that is definitely safer than maybe entrepreneurship or something like that. So ask yourself, what are your non-negotiables? Ask yourself why you want it. In my coaching program, we go through a training that's called the 7 levels of why. And you're going to ask yourself why you want something 7 times over. Why do I want this thing? And then answer that. And then you ask why again, and then you answer it, and then you ask why again. And you get really deep into understanding why you want to do something. And what this does is it provides you with a lot of guidance and motivation and ability to overcome those barriers, because the excuses that come up, the barriers that come up, the things that come up that try to stop you from succeeding aren't as important to you as your whys. So I have my clients write them all down in this triangle pyramid thing that we do, and then they put them up somewhere that they can see them often. And on the days that you're struggling and you're having a difficult time, I want to work out today, but I also want to just be lazy, or I want to eat healthy, but I also want to eat the entire cake. You can read your why list and it will help you to make decisions. It's like you're your own conscience. You are your own Jiminy Cricket. But you're sitting in here and you're doing this in a time before the barriers arise, so that when they come up, you're prepared and ready with an answer. Another thing that we do is I often tell people just to personalize it to your way and then follow your strengths. So what are your strengths? What do you enjoy doing? Follow that. There's always options of what you can do. Narrow it down to what you want to do, what you enjoy doing. Because if you enjoy your work, it will be far more fulfilling and it will be easier for you to stick with it because you enjoy doing it. Again, whether you're working for somebody else or you're running your own business, this is very, very applicable. So ask yourself, why do you want to do it? And what am I good at? And then find something that works with those 2 options. Again, my non-negotiables required that I am able to work online, I am able to work my own schedule, and I really thoroughly, absolutely love the human body. I knew I needed to work with people's bodies because it is what I am so passionate about. It's what I got my degree in. It's what I got my personal training certification in. It's what I've done for 13 years. I absolutely love the human body. And for me, I know that that is a driving force. As long as I'm working with people to learn how to love and work their bodies, I will be fulfilled. No amount of money can buy me out of that amount of fulfillment. it is absolutely amazing to me that it is so motivating to just love what I do. And I'm grateful, and I know that not everyone has this ability to just go right into loving what you do. I encourage you to try to find a way to work those things together. Maybe you're in a position where you're working a manual labor job or something like that, but what can you do to make that more fun? What can you do to make it more yours? Perhaps you're doing a job where you have a billion tasks that you have to get done. I'm going to tell you one of my favorite habits right now that absolutely helps me to do the thing. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you a story. So my husband and I built our dream house a couple of years ago, and I decided that I wanted to be the contractor for it. And he and I agreed that this was a good idea. I'm an organized person. One of my skills is leadership and organization and planning and budgeting, all of those things. I love those kind of stuff. And at this time I wasn't working and he was, and so he didn't have a lot of time to do it. He is very, very good at the skills of building. He has a lot of experience in, all the different things that come with the labor and the manual work. But I am more of the planner and the organizer. And so I decided to be the contractor and he would do a lot of the work. And so as we got going into this, I started to come up with barriers. I would make a phone call and say, hey, I'm looking for, a framer. And they would say, okay, what business are you with? And I'd say, I'm not with a business. I'm just a homeowner. And they would immediately tell me, nope, we won't even talk to you. We're so busy right now. We only work with contractors. So that became my first barrier, my first bit of self-doubt where I thought, do I belong here? Maybe I should just hire this out to the pros, to somebody who knows what they're doing. But then again, I listened to my own filter from that episode a while ago where I believed in myself and I knew I could do this. So I'm just going to keep on going, shift and adapt and keep on going. And so I adapted and I moved a different direction. I just kept calling people until I found someone who would work with homeowners. And I, would work with this person. And I was really good at pushing timelines and pushing budgets. And I would get a bid and I would, we'd negotiate the bid and then I would hold this person to it. I would make sure that they hit their timelines and that they were on time and that, I was holding up my end of the deal, they were holding up their end of the deal, and everybody walked away from the job quickly and well paid. And it worked out really, really well for the most part. There were a couple of times that I really had to be on the job site every single day to make sure that they were there and that they were working and that things were getting done. And there was a couple of contractors that I didn't tell them I was going to fire them, but I did have to kind of say, hey, you told me that you'd get it done in this amount of time and we're way beyond that. I need you to get this done quickly or I'm going to bring in somebody else. And sometimes I had to kind of put down the letter of the law. And this to me was scary. I don't like this kind of confrontation and I hated those conversations, but at the same time, I knew it had to be done. And that's the key I want you to remember. There are going to be things in your life, in your business, in your work that have to be done. Just because you're doing what you love to do. I absolutely loved contracting this house. It was thoroughly fulfilling and super fun for me. But just because I enjoyed it didn't mean that every single minute was super fun. There were so many times of high stress and so many tasks that just had to get done, but I knew they had to get done and I just did them anyway. There are going to be so many things in your business that you just have to do. Whether you want to do them or not is irrelevant. So I'm going to teach you a habit hack right now that is going to change your life. Are you ready for this? This is my very, very favorite habit hack. It's called habit coupling. What you're going to do is you're going to pair something with something else. And you can do this in lots of different ways. I've got another episode about this as well, how to do it with your health habits. But today we're talking about business habits. And so I'm going to use what's called the love-hate habit coupling. So you're going to take a task that you love to do in your business and a task that you hate to do in your business, and you're going to build in a reward system. Are you ready for this magic? Pick the task that you hate, and you have to complete that task in order to do the task you love. So you have to complete the task that you hate before you can do the task you love. One of the things in building that house that I hated to do was to get bids. But before I could go out to the job site, which I loved to be on the job site, I loved to be here and seeing the progress. So fun. Before I could go to the job site, I had to get 3 bids. That was my thing. Every single day I made myself make 3 phone calls. I also hate making phone calls. If you know me at all, you know I'm a texter and I don't like phone calls. So I made myself make 3 phone calls and get 3 bids. every day before I could go to the job site. I am telling you, you guys, this is a game changer. It is such a phenomenal habit to build into your business because not only are you getting done the things you don't want to do, you're being consistent with them, and you are making it so that you have a reward immediately afterwards. Immediately after the thing that you hate to do, you reward yourself. So then the thing that you hate to do becomes something that you want to do because you want the reward. You're building in a positive reward system into the things that you hate to do. It's absolutely amazing. I'm telling you, you have to try this. So I just worked with a client a couple of weeks ago, and she told me that she hated to make phone calls. She's like me. She hated to make phone calls, but she loved to make content or to create her content. And so I told her, you have to make 2 phone calls before you create 2 pieces of content. 2 phone calls, 2 pieces of content. And that was the rule for her. And it absolutely changed it for her. She was able to keep consistent clients coming in. And so then when she was making that content, when she was creating her stuff and living in her zone of genius, she was really, really fulfilled because all the aspects of her business were still flowing smoothly. And that's the key. Such an important part of business is that consistency. And if we're up and we're down and we're doing one task here and one task there, and we're only doing the things that we enjoy, it's not going to be successful. The only reason I know that is because I've done that, you guys. All of last year was a massive trial and error for me. And I did this so many times. I would like hone in and like, oh, okay, this is the thing I'm going to do today. And I'd crush it. And then I wouldn't look at it again for 6 weeks. It was terrible. You cannot do business that way. I promise you. So the best way to convince yourself to be consistent is habit coupling, especially with that love-hate coupling, because it builds in that reward system and helps you to look forward to the things that maybe are those things that just need to get done, but you don't love. And the next thing I want to talk about is time blocking. This is one of the most valuable pieces of my business and one of the most valuable pieces of my life. Time blocking is valuable because it gives you a start and a finish to each individual task. So whatever it is that you're working on, you have a start, you have a minimum amount of time, and you have a maximum amount of time to work on this thing. If you're an entrepreneur, you know, or if you're a person who, I mean, there's lots of jobs out there that if you're just working in a workplace, there are a lot of things that just can take over. You can get obsessed with this thing, you can get deep into this thing, and you just want to work on it for hours, days, weeks, and focus on that and nothing else. So unproductive. And then if you do that, those tasks that need to get done, those consistency tasks, again, get ignored. And you're doing this roller coaster thing again, where you're back and forth and up and down. So in order to do the thing that you want to dive into and that you know you'll get sucked into, set yourself a time limit. I put an alarm on my phone, and I've got a minimum of 15 minutes and a maximum of 30 minutes for a lot of my time blocks, especially with social media and with messaging. I can get so sucked into that, and I can do it for hours and hours and hours and hours and just ignore everything else in my life. And I totally have done this. You can ask my family. I get sucked in, and it becomes very frustrating for me, for my business, for my family, for everybody. It's a terrible thing. And so time blocking saves you from yourself. The other powerful thing that time blocking does is there's a law in the universe that talks about how whatever the task is that you have, you're going to use the allotted amount of time that you have to perform that task. Procrastinators, you know what I'm talking about. If you have to complete something by Friday, today's Monday, that thing's going to take you 5 days to complete. We both know you're doing it on Friday. However, if you set yourself a time block and you say, I'm doing this for 30 minutes on Monday, 30 minutes on Tuesday, 30 minutes on Wednesday, you set yourself up for success. And if you have a maximum amount of time, you don't wait till Friday to do it. You set yourself those time blocks along the way. You will get so much more done. I promise you, every book, every course, everything out there about productivity talks about time blocking maximums because it forces you to work more efficiently. If you've got 3 hours to create your social media content, you're going to take 3 hours. If you've got 20 minutes, you're going to take 20 minutes. I promise you this works. And the first time you limit yourself, it feels short. It feels a little bit of panicky and you're like, oh, this is not enough. I need more. But as you complete the habit formation process that we talk about all the time, a little bit of consistency every single day, instead of 8 hours on Monday and then leave it for 6 weeks, 30 minutes Monday, 30 minutes Tuesday, 30 minutes Wednesday. a maximum of 30 minutes. Give yourself those time blocks so that you can stay consistent, you are far more productive, and you're able to get so much more done in so much less time. It is amazing what these things will do. So use your time blocks to increase your self-discipline, your consistency, and your efficiency. Use your love-hate coupling to make yourself do the things you don't want to do and build in the reward system so that you can enjoy your business again. And my third habit is journaling. I talk about this all the time. I use it for mental health, physical health. I use it for everything. But for business in particular, it is particularly useful because if you're an entrepreneur like me, you know you have ideas coming to you all the dang time. And some of the ideas are just ideas that you need to process, work through, and realize, okay, that actually wouldn't work. Some of the ideas are phenomenal ideas. You need to get them on paper. You need to sift through and figure out how exactly to make them happen and what steps to take to enact those. Those need to be written down. Those need to be processed. And I know a lot of people have a business coach that they help to talk through this kind of stuff. Maybe talking it out is a useful method for you. For me, I love to journal it and then talk about it. I like to process it in my own head first, and then I work through the logistics of it. It is so, so incredibly useful for me. And I journal 2 different ways. I do one to just clear my head on the days where I feel really overwhelmed and stressed and I just feel like there's so much going on. I just have to clear my head. I call this my brain dump. And I just type and I type and I type. And I just write out everything that I'm thinking and I don't even make it make sense. Sometimes I write complete sentences. Sometimes I just write words. And it just needs to get out of my head. And then my head is clear and I can go on to the rest of my day. The other one is that processing where I start with, what I'm thinking about, and then I go through and I process through it and realize, okay, yeah, would work, this would work, that would work, this would not work. Let's remove this piece. Let's add in this piece. Let's talk to this person. Let's, all of those kind of things. It's super useful to go through this on paper. I'm a slow writer by hand, but I'm a fast typer. So I often do this at my computer, and it is such a valuable business habit for me. So those are my 3. There's kind of a 3 and 3 in this episode. First, ask yourself why you want the thing you want, what you're good at, and what your non-negotiables are. Those are kind of the first 3 questions you got to ask yourself before you decide if you're going into business or what business to start or what work to start doing if you're working for somebody else. And then your 3 business habits are time blocking, love-hate habit coupling, and journaling. Those are the 3 for today. You guys, I absolutely love what I do and I find it incredibly fulfilling. If you are looking for help on this kind of a process, if you want to start a business or if you want to grow your business or anything like that, please reach out to me. I would love to talk through this kind of stuff. I absolutely am passionate about it and it's so fulfilling for me. And I thoroughly enjoy what I do. And so I would love to help you work through yours as well. Reach out to me, send me a message at Susie B Life on any platform, or you can message me susieblife@gmail.com. Anyway, any of those ways you can contact me and I can help you work through some of your thought processes or help you, coaching with coaching and accountability so you can get consistent and stay consistent. And I can help you work through these kind of processes so that they become habits instead of just ideas. If you can make these ideas and these concepts become habits in your life, oh my gosh, things move so much smoother and you have to think so much less. It's amazing. So if you guys are looking for that kind of stuff, again, reach out to me. And I hope this was a helpful episode for you, whether you're starting a business or whether, you can apply this to other areas of your life as well. Think about how these kind of processes, this love-hate habit coupling, I do this in everything I do. Cleaning habits, parenting habits, physical health habits, mental health habits. I do it with all of it. So that one's a highly applicable habit. And I highly encourage you to use that one. It's probably my favorite thing. And I absolutely love talking about this kind of stuff. So again, if you want more information, reach out to me and we can talk through it. All right, you guys, I hope you had, I hope you got a lot of information here and I hope you got some good value out of this. And I hope to talk to you soon because what your dreams are, what your ambitions are, the thing that you want to do, you should do. You can do, and I want to help you do. Just to close it out, to go back to that story about me being the contractor on our home, there was kind of 2 personalities that I had to hold in this position. That love-hate habit coupling, this was a love-hate personality trait that I had to develop in order to succeed in this position. And that was that. Have you ever heard the song Sweet But a Psycho? My husband said that had become my theme song for contracting because at the beginning of the job, with all of the subcontractors and with all of the workers, I started out sweet. And if they did their job, it stayed sweet. But if they didn't and they, started to slack or they weren't showing up or whatever, we had to go into psycho. So that became my contractor song. She's sweet but a psycho. That was me. But hey, we got the job done. And as far as I know, in our neighborhood, there's about 15 houses that have just been built. And we got ours done way faster than all the other houses. And so I think we were able to get the job done well. And it was because, again, I asked myself those things. What do I want? I wanted to build a house and I wanted to do it quickly. What are the things I'm passionate about, the things I'm good at? And I harnessed those and I focused in on those areas and I hired out the ones that I needed help with. And then why was I doing it? I absolutely had my why all the time. My family was with me every single day, and we lived in this tiny little 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom apartment with 4 kids and my husband working from home. So we had a big why on how we wanted to do this quickly. And then the other question was, what are the barriers and what are you willing to do to make it happen? I was willing to be a psycho. I started out sweet, but I was willing to be a psycho if I needed to, because sometimes you need to do the things that need to get done, whether you want to or not. I encourage you guys to listen to this episode a couple of times if you need to, and really use this stuff in your business, in your work, in your life, and develop a way that you can thrive in your daily life. You shouldn't just be getting through the day to get to the weekend or getting through the year to get through the next year. Be present, be okay with where you are and enjoy what you're doing. There's always something you can shift, even if it's just small shifts, to make it more personal to you, to make it more fulfilling for you. I encourage you to take the time to do that because it will be so absolutely worth it. All right, you guys have a fabulous week. Again, I'm Susie B. And if you want to reach out to me, Susie B Life on all platforms or susielife@gmail.com. Have a fabulous week and we'll catch you next time on Habits and Humor.